Tonight, we're stepping back in time to explore the strange and strict world of Victorian social etiquette, a world where even how long you stayed at someone's house could determine your reputation. Compared to these rules, your most awkward modern moment might feel like nothing at all. And hey, if you're enjoying this cozy little journey through history, feel free to like the video or subscribe. I'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop a comment with your location and the current time. It always amazes me how people from all over the world are drifting off to sleep to the same stories. Now, let's head back to Victorian London. You open your eyes to find yourself in the year 1850. The bed you're lying in is narrow, with an iron frame. The mattress underneath you isn't the soft memory foam kind. It's stuffed with horsehair, a bit scratchy, a bit lumpy. The room around you is quiet and cold. The fire that was once flickering in the fireplace has burned down to a faint red glow, casting long shadows across the room. As your eyes adjust, you see the outlines of heavy wooden furniture, a wardrobe, a small washstand with a ceramic basin, a dressing table with a mirror that's slightly fogged. Outside, the muffled sound of carriage wheels clattering over cobblestones reaches your ears. A dog barks in the distance. The scent of coal smoke hangs in the air, thick and ever-present. It seeps through every window frame, under every door. That's London for you. There's a hint of citrus too, bergamot oil. It lingers faintly in the air, coming from the perfume bottle on your table. Everyone's wearing it these days. It's light, clean, and just fashionable enough. The bedsheets are made of cotton, not especially soft, but clean. You're wearing a flannel nightgown that buttons all the way up to your neck. Modesty is everything. Even sleeping with your wrists exposed would be considered improper. Beside your bed, a small bell waits. You reach over and ring it gently. Within moments, footsteps echo on the stairs. Your maid, Mary, enters the room with practiced quietness. She's already dressed, neatly put together. "Good morning, miss," she says softly with a small curtsy. "Shall I draw the curtains?" Without waiting for a response, she walks to the window and pulls back the thick velvet drapes. Pale grey daylight spills in. The glass is streaked with soot, a reminder of the countless chimneys puffing smoke into the London sky. "What would you like to wear today, miss?" Mary asks, moving to the wardrobe. She opens it, revealing dresses in shades of blue, green, and burgundy, each one more detailed than the last. And now, your crash course in Victorian social expectations truly begins. Because from here on out, every single thing you do, from the way you walk to the tone of your voice, will be judged by a rigid, unwritten rulebook. The Victorians didn't just live by rules, they built their identities around them. "Mrs. Hartley at 11, Mary reminds you, selecting a day dress in dark blue, and tea with your cousin Emily at 4. Morning calls, your first lesson. Despite the name, they don't actually happen in the morning. Instead, they take place between 3 and 5 in the afternoon. If you call them afternoon calls, people will look at you like you've lost your mind. Each visit lasts exactly 15 minutes. Not 14, not 16, 15. Any longer, and you're being rude. And yes, most women actually carried pocket watches to make sure they didn't overstay. Now, it's time to get dressed, which in Victorian times is practically a sport. First comes the chemise, a long cotton underdress, then the corset. Ah yes, the corset. Mary fastens it around your torso and begins pulling the laces. You ask her to tighten it. A proper lady's waist should be small enough to fit within 2 hands. That's the ideal. Mary yanks the laces tighter and tighter until your ribs begin to compress and your breath comes shorter. Fashion hurts. Next come the petticoats, 1 layer, then 2, then 3, each one heavier than the last, adding volume to your skirt. And over those goes the crinoline, a steel hoop frame that expands your dress outward like a bell. Then finally, the dress itself, stiff bodice, enormous skirt, precise buttons. By the time you're fully dressed, you're carrying about 15 pounds of fabric on your body. Mary styles your hair into a smooth, tightly arranged bun. No flyaways allowed. Neatness is everything. "Will you be wearing gloves or mittens today?" she asks, holding both options. You choose gloves. A proper lady never shows her bare hands in public, ever. They must remain hidden, as if hands themselves are somehow scandalous. As Mary helps you slip them on, you remember another important rule: no perfume. Heavy scents are considered vulgar now. Queen Victoria herself declared it. Instead, you lightly dab lemon and bergamot oil onto a handkerchief, just enough to smell clean, not seductive. Dressed and composed, you head downstairs for breakfast. The house is alive with quiet movement. Servants polish furniture, sweep floors, arrange silverware. The cook has been awake since 5, preparing the morning meal. In the dining room, your father sits at the head of the table, reading the newspaper. Your mother is already writing letters at the far end. Both are fully dressed, no casual clothing allowed, not even at home. "Good morning," you say politely as you take your seat. Your father glances up, nods once, and returns to his paper. Hugs? Smiles? Not here. Emotional displays, even among family, are frowned upon. Breakfast is hearty. Eggs, bacon, toast, porridge, even kidneys. But you barely eat. The corset makes it impossible to take more than tiny bites. "Remember," she says without looking up, "Mrs. Hartley's daughter has just become engaged. Offer your congratulations, but don't ask any questions about the wedding. That would be improper." You nod. Mental note taken. In Victorian society, acknowledging life events is polite, but showing too much interest is considered vulgar. After breakfast, you have some time before your visit. You settle near the window with your embroidery. Idle hands are frowned upon. A proper lady should always appear to be doing something graceful, delicate, and useful. Your mother joins you with her own needlework. "I ran into Mrs. Fairchild yesterday," she says. "Her son has returned from university." You keep your eyes on your stitching, but your heartbeat quickens. Thomas Fairchild. You danced with him at a ball last year. He was kind. He didn't step on your feet, which is rare. "How nice," you say, carefully controlling your tone. "She mentioned he asked after you," your mother adds, watching your expression closely. Your cheeks grow warm, but you keep your voice neutral. "Did he? That's very thoughtful." Your mother nods, satisfied. Showing too much interest would be improper. The game of courtship in this era is mostly about pretending you're not playing. At 10:45 sharp, you put on your bonnet, gloves, and cloak. You're heading to Mrs. Hartley's house. You carry a small case with visiting cards, printed with your name. They're essential for any formal visit. Though her house is just a few streets away, you walk slowly. Taking large strides would be unladylike. Your posture is straight, your gaze slightly downcast. Men on the street tip their hats to you. You offer a small nod in return, but no eye contact. A proper lady never speaks to a man she hasn't been formally introduced to. At exactly 11, you arrive. Not a minute early, not a minute late. Being too early suggests you're idle. Being late is simply rude. The butler opens the door. You hand over 2 cards, one for you, one for your mother, which he places on a silver tray and carries into the drawing room. Mrs. Hartley and her daughter, Charlotte, rise as you enter. Everyone curtsies. No handshakes, no embraces. Physical contact is kept to a minimum. "How kind of you to call," Mrs. Hartley says, motioning for you to take a seat. And thus begins the quiet performance of Victorian life, where appearances are everything, feelings are hidden, and every moment is shaped by a delicate dance of rules.
Morning once again breaks through the soft haze of London fog. Your maid, Mary, moves quietly around the room, drawing the heavy curtains and placing a silver tray by your bedside. Steam rises from the delicate china cup. "Hot chocolate, miss, and a note. Your mother wishes to remind you of this evening's dinner engagement." Ah, yes, the Fairchilds' dinner. The Fairchilds. And Thomas. You sit up slowly, the chill in the air biting your arms, before Mary wraps you in a robe. As she brushes out your hair, your thoughts drift, not to the food, not to the seating, not even to the many eyes that will judge every move you make tonight. Your thoughts drift to him. "Miss," Mary's voice breaks through your reverie, "will you be needing your blue gown tonight?" You nod. "Yes, the silk one, with the lace trim." A small smile touches her lips. She knows. The day, like all others, proceeds in a quiet rhythm. Piano practice in the drawing room. 2 full hours, your mother insists. Mrs. Fairchild is very proud of their new pianoforte. It would be ungracious not to perform if asked. And so you play, not with passion, but with precision. In the Victorian world, talent must always appear effortless. To be too eager is to be improper. After luncheon, you and your mother take a walk in the park. Pale sunlight filters through the trees, catching on your bonnet's ribbon. A gentle breeze rustles the winter leaves. "Tonight," your mother says softly, "remember your posture at table, and do not appear too surprised if you're seated high. That would imply vanity." You nod. Victorian dinner tables are as political as Parliament. One's place says everything and nothing. Back home, preparations begin. Mary draws your bath. The scent of rose oil fills the air. You soak in silence, staring at the ceiling as the fire cracks softly nearby. Dressing is an event unto itself. The corset is tighter tonight, tighter than is comfortable. But comfort has no place here. Beauty does. Elegance does. Sacrifice, always. Layer by layer, the costume of the evening is assembled. Stockings, petticoat, crinoline, gown, gloves, necklace, hair pinned high and delicate. Powder, never rouge. Rouge is for actresses. "Lovely," Mary whispers as she places a final pearl pin behind your ear. "Miss Fairchild will turn green." You smile faintly. A carriage arrives. Horses snort, their breath misting in the frosty air. Your mother steps in first, and you follow, skirts rustling like whispered secrets. The Fairchilds' home glows like a lantern, candles in every window. A butler in dark livery opens the door. "Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, Miss Jane Wilson." Your name echoes in the hall. All conversation softens. Heads turn. You curtsy, perfectly measured. And there he is, Thomas, standing near the fireplace, tall and calm. His bow is subtle, but his eyes hold just a flicker of something more. "Miss Wilson, it's a pleasure to see you again." "Mr. Fairchild," you reply, your voice light, "it seems London is kind to you." He smiles. "London has its charms, though I believe one in particular appeared only tonight." You lower your gaze, as expected. To smile too widely would be bold. More guests arrive. The air fills with gentle perfume, soft conversation, and the clinking of crystal. You do not eat, though food is passed. To be hungry is not ladylike. You sip from your glass slowly, carefully. At last, the doors to the dining room open. Place cards await. You glance down at yours, placed just 3 seats from the host, a position of quiet prestige. Across from you, Thomas. You meet his eyes, briefly, then look away. The game continues. Dinner is long, elegant, calculated. Conversation is light. Weather, poetry, the Queen's latest public appearance. You speak when spoken to. You laugh, softly, only when appropriate. You shine, but never outshine. After dinner, the gentlemen retire to the smoking room. You, with the other ladies, return to the drawing room. Tea is poured, music is played, embroidery is resumed. Then a polite voice calls from the doorway. "Miss Wilson, might we trouble you for a piece at the piano?" You rise. You play. Not as a performance, not to impress, but as a statement. Calm, cultured, controlled. The room listens, and you feel, for just a moment, the eyes of Thomas among them, watching, listening, admiring. As the hour grows late, carriages are called, cloaks are fetched, gloves are pulled on. You curtsy once more, nodding your farewells. At the door, Thomas is there, waiting. He offers his hand, not for a proposal, not for affection, but simply to assist you into the carriage. You take it. His grip is warm. And in that small, silent moment, in the hush before goodbye, you sense something. Not romance, not rebellion, but possibility. The carriage door closes. Hooves clatter on cobblestone. London slips by in a blur of lamplight and shadow. And you, Victorian young lady, sit in silence, heart steady, spine straight, gaze soft. A perfect evening, a perfect performance, and maybe, just maybe, the beginning of something more.
The air is cold. You open your eyes to a dimly lit room, the early light of Victorian London filtering through soot-streaked windows. The fire in the hearth has long faded, leaving behind a few sleepy embers. You're wrapped in a flannel nightgown, buttoned up to your neck, as modesty demands, and the sheets beneath you are stiff with starch. A faint scent of bergamot lingers in the air, delicate and fresh against the ever-present coal smoke that drifts in from the street. A soft knock. Mary, your maid, steps in and curtsies. "Good morning, miss. Shall I draw the curtains?" You nod. She pulls back the heavy drapes, letting in a pale grey light. Beyond the window, the city hums to life. Carriage wheels on cobblestone, distant voices, the clatter of hooves. Your wardrobe is already open. Dozens of dresses hang side by side, crinolines, corsets, layers of silk and lace. Today, there's a dinner party at the Fairchilds'. The process of dressing is slow and precise. First, the chemise, then the corset, pulled tight by Mary's steady hands. You wince, not from pain, but habit. The pressure settles like a second skin. Then petticoats, bustle, and finally the gown, a sea-green satin trimmed with ivory lace. By late afternoon, your carriage arrives. The Fairchilds' residence glows with candlelight behind tall windows. A footman helps you out, and you ascend the stone steps, heart beating quietly beneath your corset. Inside, the hall is warm and golden. Guests are gathering. Men in dark tailcoats, women in silk gowns, gloves and glittering brooches. The scent of beeswax, rose water, and roast game hangs thick in the air. You spot Thomas across the room. He's speaking to an older gentleman, but his eyes flick briefly toward you, just for a moment, then back again. Even glances carry meaning here. At last, the butler announces, "Dinner is served." Now begins the dance of etiquette. The host, Mr. Fairchild, offers his arm to the evening's most honored female guest. The ranking gentleman escorts Mrs. Fairchild. Everyone else pairs off in descending order of status. You're matched with a middle-aged gentleman with a bushy moustache and a firm grip on your arm. You exchange polite smiles. The dining room glows with silver and crystal. Candlelight catches on the polished cutlery and delicate china. Each place setting includes an array of intimidating utensils: soup spoons, fish forks, oyster knives. One misstep and social disaster looms. You're seated halfway down the table, not at the top, but not at the bottom either. A respectable position. Thomas is several seats away on the opposite side. The gentleman to your right turns to you. "I believe you danced with my nephew, Charles Pembroke, at Lady Hamilton's ball." You recall it faintly, the man who talked endlessly about his horse and trod on your foot 3 times. "Yes," you say smoothly, "a most talented dancer." A harmless lie, one of many small fictions that grease the wheels of polite society. The meal progresses in courses: soup, fish, roast meat, game bird, and dessert, each with its own serving rituals. A lady never eats too heartily. Small bites, quiet chewing, posture upright. Your every